Hello students, how are you all? I hope you are all fine. Okay, in this video today we are going to revise lesson number 5. Okay, do you all remember what is the topic of the lesson? Yes, the topic of the lesson is where water comes from, isn't it? Where water comes from. Where does the water comes from? The main source of water is the rain, isn't it? We have learnt about rain, isn't it? Yes, most of the water in the ocean are very salty. Where are the water found? Where are water found? Yes, we can see water in the places like we use water, isn't it? Yes, from lakes, ponds, and rivers, isn't it? Yes, and also we take out water from underground. That water is called the groundwater. Okay, yes. How does the groundwater comes? It comes from rain, isn't it? Yes, and the rainwater, when the rain flows, it flows from hills and slopes, and some of the water fills the pond, lakes and rivers, and from rivers it goes into the sea, and some of it soaks through the soil and reaches the underground, isn't it? And that water is called as the groundwater. That water which is stored under the ground is called the groundwater. And next we saw about how does the water comes to our home, isn't it? How does the water comes, clean water, how does the clean water comes, reaches our home? Yes, what are the processes which are included? Yes, the water which comes, that flows out of our tap, is pumped out from the, where does it pumped out, where, from which place? From lakes and rivers, isn't it? Otherwise it is pumped under the ground, pumped from under the ground. And then first process, when the water has been pumped, it is being collected in a huge tank, and then filtering is done, filtered, and then the collected water is being filtered. What do you mean by filtering? Filtering means that is the taking out of solid things, that is the unwanted things which are stored in water. It is being separated. Okay, that is called as the filtering. And then the filtered water is then to the filtered water, a gas. What is the gas name? A gas called chlorine is added. Why chlorine is added? When you add chlorine, it kills the germs which are present in the water, so that then the germ-free water is carried to all homes through pipes. Okay, yes, it's all about we have seen up. Today we are going to next we are going to learn about the book back exercises. Is already done. We are going to do the question answer. First question, take your books to page number 27. Take your books to page number 27. As we have already done the match and the steps, we are going to do the question answers. Why do we not use seawater? First question. First question is, why do we not use seawater? Why do we not use seawater? Yes? Yes, it's simple, isn't it? Yes. The seawater is the seawater, that is the water from the sea, isn't it? The water from the oceans are very salty, isn't it? Yes, the seawater is so salty, so we cannot use it. That is the answer for the first question. Why do we not use seawater? Because the seawater is salty, so we cannot use it. Okay? Yes. Second question, moving on to the second question. Where do we get water from? Where do we get water from? From which place we get water from? Yes, turn your books to page number 24. We get water from lakes, ponds, and rivers. Okay, where do we get water from? We get water from lakes, ponds, and rivers. We get water from lakes, ponds, and rivers. Yes, that is your second question. Then third question, what is the water stored underground called? What is the water stored underground called? Just now we revised it. What is it called? The water stored underground is called the groundwater. It's called the groundwater. Yes, the water which is stored underground is called the groundwater. Next question. Why do people boil the drinking water? Why do people boil the drinking water? Fourth question. What is the answer for it? Yes. Page number 26. When we boil, what happens? When we boil, what happens? The germs which are there in the water is being killed. That's why we are boiling. Okay. Boiling water is the simplest way of making water germ free. Boiling water is the simplest way of making water germ free. This kills germs in water. This kills germs in water. When we boil the water, it kills the germs. That's why people boil the drinking water. Before drinking the water, we will boil the water. Next question, fifth question. Why should we store drinking water in covered bottles and utensils? Why should we store drinking water in covered bottles and utensils? Why do we store it in a covered thing? We must store. Why should we store drinking water in a covered one? Why? We must keep the bottles. We must keep the bottles and utensils covered. Why? Because to stop, when we open the bottles and bottles, what happens? The germs will get into it, isn't it? Germs or dirt or unwanted things. That's why we must keep the bottles and utensils covered to stop germs and dirt from getting into the water. Okay. When we cover the water, it cannot get into it. When we cover the bottles and utensils, the germs cannot get into it. That's why we are the water is being covered. The water is being covered. Okay, we must keep the bottles and utensils covered to stop germs and dirt from getting into the water. Yes. I hope you understood, children. I will just repeat the question. First question, why we do not use seawater? Because the seawater is salty. That's why we cannot use it. First one. Why do we not use seawater? We do not use, the seawater is very salty, so we cannot use it. Second one, where do we get water from? Where do we get water from? We get water from rivers, lakes and ponds. Rivers, lakes and ponds. Third one, what is the water stored underground is called? The answer is there in the water in the question itself. The water stored underground is called the groundwater. Groundwater. The water which is stored underground is called the groundwater. Fourth one, why do people boil the drinking water? Why do people boil the drinking water? Boiling water is the simplest way of making the water germ free. Okay, when you boil the water, this kills the germs in the water. That's why we are boiling the drinking water. When we boil, the germs which are present in the water is being killed. That's why the drinking water is being boiled. Okay, yes. And the last question, why should we store the drinking water in covered bottles and utensils? Why should we store the drinking water in the covered bottles? We must keep the bottles and utensils in covered. Why? Because to stop the germs and dirt get into it. Okay, to stop germs and dirt from getting into the water. If you cover the water bottles and utensils, the germs cannot get into it. That's why we are storing the water. That's why we are the drinking water is being covered in the bottles. Okay. Why should we store the drinking water in covered bottles? We must keep the bottles and utensils covered to stop germs and dirt from getting into the water. Okay, yes. I hope you understood. This is all about the 5 questions. I have sent the videos, I have sent the spellings and the question answers in the WhatsApp just to learn it, okay? Yes, it's a very easy one just for your homework, children. Just learn the question answers. There are 5 questions in it, and learn the question answer. By next week you'll be having a test, okay? Homework, learn the 5 question answers. That's it for today. Thank you, children.